The SEC champions, regular season head coach, and this Patrick Murphy of the Alabama Crimson Tide softball. And Coach, always great to talk to you, and congratulations just so far. I know you got a lot more to go, and you're not settling with this, but 49-6, 18-6 in SEC play, and the regular season SEC champs. Congrats.
Hey, thanks a lot, Jay. And you know what? I really appreciate, all the listeners out there. I want them to know how much I appreciate you sending me messages throughout the season, too, because that means a lot to me. And if you were an athlete on this team, you would absolutely love it, because I know you played sports all your life. But this is just one of the best groups that I've ever coached at Alabama. And it's just been amazing to see them grow from the very, very beginning when we went to Japan last summer to being the SEC outright champion by 4 games. So I couldn't be happier and more proud of a group.
Talk about I guess some of the differences between some of the other great teams that you've had, and also the similarities between the teams that you've had that have been championship teams.
Well, I think the biggest difference between this team and other SEC championship teams have been our pitching staff. We have 5 pitchers this year. It was the most we've ever had. The most previous was 4, which I think we only had 2 seasons, because we had an overlap of a kid that didn't graduate or she redshirted. So we had an overlap, but Stephanie Protro has done an incredible job with the pitching staff, and obviously the number one thing at the beginning was we needed to have bullpen catchers because we had so many pitchers. So our managers have done a hell of a good job of catching all the bullpen, our 2 catchers as well. But just to handle that pitching staff was a chore, and then we had to get them to buy into a staff mentality and not softball pitchers have. From when they start, when they're 8 years old, they think I got to throw a complete game, and I'm going to throw 5 games on a weekend, and I'm going to carry my team. So we're trying to get away from that mentality, because they've done it all their life, and then they get to college and there's 4 of the kids on the pitching staff. It's like, wait a minute. And but they bought in, and I think the leader of that group is Courtney Gettins, our senior, who just has been terrific in terms of a mentor with everybody else, because we had 3 new pitchers this year. We had a transfer from Hofstra. We signed a JUCO from Chipola in the fall of last year. And then we have Montana Fout, who's our freshman from Kentucky. And all of them have bought in from the very beginning. And that's been the biggest difference. And then similarity, probably just team chemistry and everybody playing for the bigger goal and for the trophy and not for themselves. And that's been a staple from day one with our program, and it's the same way this year.
Coach, this is a bigger picture question. What's just been the key to building your program?
Well, I think number one is I've always said I want kids who want to play at Alabama. So that's one of the first questions that I ask is, basically, where would you like to go to school? And in the beginning of the recruiting process. And if their first answer is Alabama, that kind of, number one, warms my heart and says she wants to be here. But I think that's the biggest thing. And that's one thing that Mal Moore taught me was, he wanted coaches who wanted to be at Alabama. And he was a handshake guy. And he always said, if I want them and they want us, then magic happens. And that's kind of my recruiting philosophy. But then we have so many really, really good athletes on this team. They're fun to watch. They play the game the right way. And we've got, like multi-sport kids that can run and hit the ball a long way. So it's just been a fun group to coach.
Do you, in your recruiting, do you like it when young women play multiple sports in high school?
Absolutely. We had a kid from Iowa that I recruited, and she was a freak. She was all-state basketball for 4 years, all-state softball for 4 years. She ran the Drake relays 4x1, 4x2, and she won the state shot put title during her career. I mean, we knew when she would come to Alabama and just concentrate on one sport that she would flourish. I just think it's really good for a kid to, do something different, use a different type of muscle set. And then I think it's also really good because, obviously most of them are studs at softball. But let's say they play basketball. and they're not the stud. So maybe they're the sixth person off the bench, and it's a different role that they have to play and a different mindset that they have to learn. So I think that's one of the best things for a kid is to play multiple sports, because when you're good and you're a good athlete, coaches will find you, period. So I don't like the early specialization, and to tell you the truth, we've seen more and more arm issues over the last 5 years than I've seen in my 23 years. It's just getting worse and worse, and overuse injuries. And Dr. Andrews and Dr. Kane, I've had long talks with both of them, and obviously they see it a lot. And it's not only softball, but it's every sport at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just I think it's a negative right now, and I don't know how to switch it, except for you asking me that question, and hopefully parents listening to the answer.
Again, we're visiting with the SEC regular season champions, head coach of the Alabama women's softball, or Alabama softball, Patrick Murphy, joining us here on the Jay Barker Show. And I guess, what is it, Thursday at around 4 p.m. our time, Central Time, 5 p.m. Eastern, you guys will face off against Arkansas or Georgia, and it's going to be over in College Station, Texas. First of all, what's College Station, is that, as far as what's that like to play there, and also who do you expect to get in this matchup?
Well, A&M built a brand new $28 million softball stadium last year. It was about 85% done for the whole season last year, but then we went over in March, and first time we played there, super nice, great playing surface, all the amenities. It's basically a mini version of their baseball stadium. So facility is going to be great. Obviously, the SEC network covers everything from top to bottom, and they're live every pitch from the beginning of the tournament to the end. And then the two teams, we didn't play Arkansas this year, and we swept Georgia at home. So obviously we're more familiar with Georgia this year. But I always say it's the toughest 13-team tournament in the country, with all 13 teams getting in now. They did a play-in game. This is the first year for that. So 12 versus 13 will play the first game on Wednesday, and then they'll bump up to play, I think it's Ole Miss, Wednesday night. So whoever you play is going to be good. It's good for your RPI. It's good for, regional play. But also the best thing about regionals the next weekend is we won't see anybody from the SEC, which is kind of a relief.
No doubt. I mean, you guys are undefeated against everybody else except the SEC. 18-6 SEC play and 49-6 overall. As far as begin, and I'm trying to think back. I think it was y'all were ranked 8th. Is that right in the SEC preseason poll? Is that right?
Yes, we were picked to finish 8th.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, so talk about the motivation that was for your team. Yeah, no doubt. What kind of motivator that was, and also, did you know that no, they're getting this wrong? This team's going to be a lot better than people even can imagine. Well,
when we started, definitely in Japan, that helped us. I don't know if you've ever done an international trip, but it's one of the best things you can do with a group, because when you travel 12 to 13 days, you get a lot closer to everybody, and especially in a country like Japan where there's very little English. So it was so much fun. It was a great experience. So that kind of gave us a head start on it. But we played New Zealand and Great Britain, and our freshmen beat both of those teams. So we knew that she was legit. Let's put it that way. And then everybody else just improved. But when we started, the first week of SEC play, I had the UA Printing Services make this huge, big number 8 on this poster board, and it literally covered half a wall in our clubhouse. And when we got in for the team meeting that day, it was folded up, and I let it go. And I said, who knows the significance of this? And immediately, I think it was Caroline Hardy, our senior from Batavia, said, that's where they picked us. And so it was definitely on right then and there, because I said, and you know what? Nobody thinks you're any good, and nobody thinks you're any good, and nobody thinks you're any good. And I went around the whole room and pointed at everybody on the team. And I said, now what are you going to do about it? And, they went out, and this is the first time we've ever led from start to finish. So we were 3-0 the first weekend against Missouri, and then just carried it through the whole year. So it was a very satisfying season for sure.
Does the coaching strategy change now that you're in tournament play and then in conference tournament play and then in the NCAA tournament?
Really, the only thing will be different is all the pitchers will probably get loose at the beginning of the game, and usually it was one or two. But just in case something happens, I don't know what, but because, the SEC tournament for sure, because it's one and done. There's no double elimination. So I don't want to get caught with somebody that, God forbid, an injury or something like that, and the number 2 or number 3 or number 4 isn't ready to go. So, and I'm going to tell the pitchers, I'm going to say, if I say to you in the dugout, Jay, are you ready to go? The answer better be yes. So that's really the only difference. And then, we really lucked out Sunday at Baton Rouge where, I played some different people and some people got some opportunities and we won the game. So it was a huge bonus for us. They performed really, really well. So now there's even more people with some good confidence going into the SEC tournament. So that was goal achieved yesterday.
Coach, always great to talk to you. I know you guys are traveling over to A&M to College Station soon, and we appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us. Congratulations on the regular season, SEC champs, but I know you're not done. So good luck coming up in the tournament and throughout all the rest of the tournament play.
Hey, thanks for having me on, you guys.